Gusto na tayo? Okay na yung sound ko, ha?
And we're live with Enteng.
Hello. Good afternoon sa inyong lahat and thank you for joining us sa episode 2 ng ating talk show ni Enteng. Maraming salamat sa mga nanood ng episode 1 ha. Umpisahan natin ang ating programa ngayon. Batiin ko lang muna yung mga nagtampo na hindi ko nabati. Batiin ko yung eldest sister namin na nasa 2P South Cotabato ngayon. Kamusta kayo dyan, Ate Sara and Domeng? Batiin ko rin yung mga classmates ko sa Pisay, lalo na si Chi Icasiano na nasa New York. Pati na rin si Noemi. Yan ha, wala na akong utang sa inyo ha. By the way, bukas nga pala, Sona. Excited na ba kayong pakinggan si Digong? Mga kwento niya na i-injectionan yung kabayo ng Venom. Di ba? Tapos magtuturuan pa tayo kung paano maglinis ng mga face mask natin. Kaya pwede palang gamitin ng gasolina o diesel panlinis. Ako, huwag yung susubukan yun at madidisgrasya kayo. No? Marami tayong pwedeng pag-usapan ngayon. Kung ayaw nyo manood pala ng Sona, meron tayong alternatibo. Kung gusto nyo, makinig na lang kayo sa Radio Katipunan. Ito yung detalye, no? Yung, ano nga ba yun? Tunog ng bayan ba yun? Paki-display. Tinig ng bayan. Tinig ng bayan. Nasa Facebook po ang detalye. So starting 3 p.m., pwede kayong makinig dyan. Imbis na yung walang katuturan na Sona ang pakinggan natin. Okay? So marami tayong pag-uusapan ngayon. Exciting itong ating show. Meron tayong guest na masarap talakayin yung subject eh. So umpisa na natin.
Usap tayo. Kahit ano pwede. Pwede TikTok, Tokhang, Tokpo. Gusto mo mga talakayang malalim. Pwede din mababaw. Komentaryong bias, may kinikilingan. Pero para sa bayan. Dahil live siya, pwede ka sumali sa usapan. Dito lang, sa talk show ni Enteng.
Ayan. Excited na ba kayo mapakinggan yung ating guest, si EDWIN LACIERDA, dating spokesperson ni President Pinoy. Pero bago yan, alam nyo meron lang kalalabas na bagong video na sobrang nakaka-touch talaga. No? Yung pinanood ko kanina ng misis ko, naiyak siya eh. No? Tamang-tama sa panahon natin ngayon. Ito yung panawagan na video. No? Basahin ko lang kung yung production para hindi ako magkamali. This is a call to prayer and action. Kasama rito sina Archbishop Soc Villegas, pati na rin si Archbishop Abilio. By the way, si Archbishop Abilio pala tinamaan ng COVID. No? Ipanalangin natin siya. At siyempre, this is in collaboration with walang iba, yung ating national artist, Papal Awardee rin, si Mr. C. Ryan Cayabyab. So thank you Mr. C. and Mrs. C. for allowing us to share this video with our audience today. Kasi talaga namang nakaka-touch yung sobra. Panoorin natin.
isang pananawagan sa may kapal mula sa bayang nasasakdal. Panginoon, sa panahon ng kadiliman at pandemya, alagaan mo ang iyong bayan, gabayan mo ang iyong bayan. Panginoon, kaawaan mo kami. Kristo, kaawaan mo kami. Ang daing ng iyong bayan ay iyong pakinggan. Panginoon, ang iyong mga anak ay ligtas mo sa kadiliman. Ang Kyrie ay isang pagsusumamo na naglalaman ng lahat ng ating mga daing at pangamba para sa ating bayan.
Speak out. Let your voices be heard. Let the Lord know how much we all love and believe in this country, this gift, this nation, and all its people. Let your love for the Philippines and for our people be heard amidst the plague of terror and deception, amidst the pestilence of violence and injustice, amidst the disease of greed and corruption. The Lord will hear our voices, once silent and meek, now growing, not in hatred, but in love for this country. He will shine His light upon us.
Bayan ko, kailan ka mamulat? Ang totoo'y nakikita na, pumipikit ka ba?
Kailan pa, kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala ka nang ibubuga.
Bayan ko, kailan ka matututo? Sadyang ikaw ang kalaban mo, ikaw rin ang susuko.
Di kailan, kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala ka nang ibubuga. Bayan ko, kailan ka tatayo? Kay rami ng dugong inalay sa'yo.
O bayan ko, ang oras ay malapit.
Yan. Grabe, makapagbagdamdamin talaga yung video na yon. Panawagan siya, hindi lang sa prayer, kundi panawagan din para kumilos na tayo, panahon na talaga. Para kumilos ang bawat Pilipino, dapat mamulat tayo. O sige, umpisahan na natin ang ating interview with our invited guest. Let us all please welcome, join me in welcoming, walang iba kundi si Secretary EDWIN LACIERDA.
Hi, Enteng. Kumusta?
Yan. Yan, laga tayo.
Long time no see, Enteng.
Oo nga eh. Kumusta? Ano bang ginagawa mo ngayon, Edwin?
Wala, work from home.
Work from home din.
Trabaho na, work from home. And then, may pagkakataon mag-exercise. Kaya, wait ng konti.
Oo, medyo ano ka nga, medyo pumayat ka ng konti yung huli tayo nagkita.
Oo.
Pero nasaan ka ngayon? Nasa government pa rin ba o private sector
Wala na,
na?
private sector na. Matagal lang tayo wala sa private
Okay. So
gobyerno.
after nung stint mo sa kay Pinoy, you went back to private
Sector,
practice.
may
Okay.
consultancy, may tinayong startup. So, yun. Doon na ngayon nakapako yung attention.
Okay. Kailan mo huling na-meet si Pinoy pala? Have you met him lately?
Hindi, wala. The last time was nung nagkita kami sa pagpiyansa sa kanya.
Okay. That was a year ago pa.
A year ago or more than a year ago siguro. Pero we keep in touch through si Abby. Si Abby yung spokesperson niya. No? So,
Okay.
so siya ngayon nagtumatay yung tagapagsalita niya. So tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang balita tungkol kay Pinoy.
Bukas pala, SONA na.
Oo nga.
Yung panahon nyo, yan ang one of the busiest time of the year for you, di ba?
Actually, pag SONA yan, ang nangyayari, the day before, nasa Batasan kami, gumagawa ng mga practice runs in terms of blocking, in terms of yung sounds, chine-check lahat yan. Wala kami director.
Ito, may
hinahayaan na
director
lang
pala.
kay Maria Montalban na siya yung director namin. So,
Hindi, professional din naman na.
So, maayos naman. So, every year, inaabangan yung SONA. So, talagang ano yan, yung mga speech writers nasa bahay pangarap, kinakausap si Pangulo Aquino, inaayos yung kanyang talumpati. Tapos kami naman, we gather doon sa office ni Secretary Dinky Soliman dahil yung pinakamalapit na office na doon kami nagla-lunch, tapos sabay-sabay kami pupunta ng ano.
Naalala ko nga, parang lahat yata ng secretary tsaka Yusek, puro yun lang ang ginagawa.
Ay, hindi lang yun. Kasi ang haba ng prosesong yun eh. May, yung mula siguro Enero pa lang, inaayos na. Kasi lahat ng mga nagawa nung nakaraang taon, kasi State of the Nation yun, kung ano nangyari at saka anong plano ni Pangulo Aquino, talagang nilalatag ng maayos yan. So from January pa lang yan, pinag-uusapan na yung anong ginagawa nyo, what have you done, and then moving forward, anong mga pwedeng i-highlight sa SONA. So yung mga accomplishments over the past year and then the direction that the President wants the country to move to, yun ang ginagawa doon sa SONA. That's the most important event actually.
Yeah. Pero ngayon, parang ina-outsource na nila eh. Parang ano na lang eh. Production ng movie na lang yun nangyayari.
Well, yan yung style ng gobyerno natin ngayon. So, hayaan na lang natin. Tingnan natin kanilang...
Siguro, Sec Edwin, para malinawan ng mga nanonood sa atin, kasi yung iba hindi naintindihan yung proseso eh. Di ba?
Okay.
So, like, you spoke in behalf of the President, right?
That's correct.
So, I assume you hold regular meetings with him para ma-discuss yung mga major issues for the day or for the week. And then you agree on talk points na kung ano yung pwede mo i-share during the press briefing. Tama ba yan?
Normally, what would happen is every morning that the team would meet.
Okay.
Because we'd identify the issues that would crop up. Alam mo, dati nung panahon, before 2010 kasi, yung news cycle, hindi naman yan 24-hour news cycle eh. Because of the advent of social media, tuloy-tuloy na yan. At sa gabi may nangyayari. So talagang may news na pumuputok yan and then social media is there. So all the media organizations, talagang pati gabi, nagbe-breaking news. So we would have to be in close contact with each other.
Okay.
Anything specific to Pinoy, itatext namin pag let's say sa gabi. Ito lang may mga balita dati na hinimatay raw siya.
Okay.
So, itatext namin, sir, may ganitong balita, hinimatay kayo.
Totoo ba?
Eh, obvious sa amin, hindi. Just for confirmation na galing sa kanya, we'd like to make na galing sa kanya yung instruction at sa kanya yung statement, ilalabas namin. So, we need to coordinate with him. But generally, pag sa umaga yan, nagmi-meet yung team, nag-uusap ano ba yung issues of the day. And then, alam mo kasi, hindi lang naman si Pinoy ang pinag-uusapan eh. lahat ng problema kasi ng gobyerno, ako ang tagasalo minsan. So ang kailangan gawin, kinakausap, let's say may problema sa DILG, may problema sa DSWD, every morning, tinatawagan ko pa yung mga cabinet secretary, kinakausap, ano ba itong issue ko? Kasi hindi ko naman alam lahat ng mga issue na yun. So ano yung sagot nyo rito? Importante kasi na there's only one message coming from government.
Yes.
Hindi yung kanya-kanya, ito si CABSEC na ganito, magsasalita na lang out of the blue, hindi na, saan nanggaling yan? So we have to coordinate, let's say, if it's an issue with DSWD, kakausapin namin si Sec Dinkin, pag sa DILG, si Sec Mar, sa DOT, si Sec Mon Jimenez. So talagang para maayos.
So talaga may proseso.
May proseso, tapos kapag, and regular ang meeting namin with Pinoy eh. Kasi kailangan yung usual meetings namin with the President, we have to thresh out, sir, what are the issues of the day? Tapos pag medyo may mga breaking na kailangan na hindi pwede kami magsalita niyan, humihingi ako ng schedule kay Panginoon Aquino. Pupunta ako sa office niya. At saka hingi ako ng time, sir, ito yung mga sinasabi ngayon, what's your position on these issues? Sige. So talagang pinag-uusapan. Ang klaro sa amin, hindi ka pwede mag-widow.
Okay. Kasi ngayon, ang nakikita natin dito sa administrasyon ko, parang lahat sila nagsasalita ng walang clearance, di ba? At pagkatapos, babawiin na lang nila. Okay. Sandali medyo ayusin lang natin yung mic mo, Edwin, dahil parang ano yata
Sige.
hindi masyado maganda ang tunog. Yan. Sorry mahirap itong live streaming dahil talagang lahat na nangyayari on the fly natin inaayos. Ayan, medyo malapit-lapit na. Pero talagang napapansin ko dito sa administrasyon to, simula pa kay panahon ni Panelo, no? Parang even without instructions from the President, parang they voice their own opinions and make it appear that it is the voice of the President. Pag spokesperson ka, dapat palaging yung principal lang, kung ano yung sa loobin ng principal mo, hindi ba dapat yun lang ang i-present mo?
Hindi kasi, well, I could not comment on the process that they do, but the basic idea of a spokesperson talaga is you speak for and on behalf of the President.
Yes.
Kung anong sinabi ko, alam mo na galing sa Presidente. Malalaman mo naman siguro kung hindi galing sa Presidente. Una, may mga motherhood statement.
Okay.
Yan, parang, alam mo na, parang, teka, ano ito? Widow to. Or tama sinabi mo, may isang nagsasabi, ganito ang position. Yung isa naman nagsabi, iba. So, hindi pwedeng gano'n ang maging isang tagapagsalita. Hindi ko alam kung ano ang relasyon ng mga spokespersons with the President. How often do they meet?
Yeah.
So, kung may access ba talaga kay Pangulong Duterte, isang issue yun. Kung
Siguro
wala kang access, talagang you're forced to come up, devise your own words.
To
and
wing
ideas.
it na binili.
Yes, oo.
Alam mo, Sec Edwin, may papakita ko sa yung meme. Ito, tingnan natin sa screen. No? Sabi nila, lying for the president is part of the job. Yeah. Pa-display nga nung meme na sinasabing...
Ang sakit naman nung pakinggan.
Ayan. If you don't stop lying, you'll grow up to be a presidential spokesperson.
Nakita ko yun actually. When I saw that, sabi ko, wow, that's...
Pero mukha nung panahon ni Sal Panelo at ni Harry Roque, mukhang they do it without any qualms Do you agree with this? Have you actually ever lied for Pinoy during that time?
I don't remember doing that. Kasi if I don't know, I tell media, for instance, na Malacanang press ko, I'll say, I'll get back to you. Pag talaga hindi namin alam, sa unang instruction talaga ni Pinay sa amin yan, kung hindi mo alam, say you don't know.
Okay.
Ang hirap talaga na naging video ka tapos public. One of the pressure of a spokesperson is to get called to the principal's office.
Okay.
Parang, Edwin, ba't mo sinabi yan? Parang may mga ganun. It turns out, parang may mga angulo na, parang question na, pero it's not really exactly nag-i-invento, but it's more of talagang klaro dapat na huwag ka magsinungaling. Klaro sa amin yan. yun din yung, parang, yan yung principle din niya. Kasi si Pinoy, you know for a fact na hindi siya nagsisinungaling eh. Prangka siya, kung prangka, dahil siya minsan maraming nagagalit sa kanya. Kasi talaga diretso mo magsalita.
Well, diretso din naman magsalita si Digo. kung yun ang pagbabasihan natin.
Oo. Pero,
Okay na ba yung audio natin? Mukhang nagkakaproblema. Sige, ayusin nyo lang para kesa hindi nila napapakinggan na maayos. Ayan, pwede naman. Ayan. Hirap talaga itong live. Okay. So tumutunog na ba na maganda? At sayang naman kung...
okay lang baka sayang lang pag di narinig.
Oo, pag hindi marinig, sayang eh.
These are the learning experience, learning curve. But I must say that your office is very impressive. Yung studio na ako. Nung unang kita ko nga kay Senator Trillanes, ang galing ni Enteng.
Wala pa rin?
Okay na?
Mag-share na lang kami ng mic para
Okay na.
Okay na. Okay, sige. Sorry guys, talagang kasama sa sa mga problema or mga birthing pains, no? Kasi ngayon pa lang naman talaga tayo nag-uumpisa nitong mga live streaming na program. Now, question, Sec Edwin, is it fair to say na as a spokesperson, you actually try to manage your principal? So kung may isang issue, meron ka ng angulo nakikita maganda i-present sa public, pero you still have to sell the idea to Pinoy, di ba? And minsan, depende sa mood niya. Pagka masama mood, ang hirap pa-aprobahan. Mahirap ba i-manage si Pinoy?
No, by definition, kasi when you say manage your principal, he falls up a lot.
Okay.
We never felt that we needed to manage the president. And maraming beses siya nagpapa-interview, hindi lang naman paminsan-minsan. So, ang napapansin talaga ng media is when I speak and when the president speaks, hindi kami nag-iiba ng tema.
Okay.
So there's no need for us really to manage the president. But admittedly, before he comes out, syempre, may mga spontaneous remarks siya that syempre would say, sir, we don't think that's possible, or you shouldn't be saying that. And he himself, may self-discipline si Pinoy eh. Hindi naman siya mahirap na hindi siya mahirap na matalino naman si Pinoy eh. He knows what to say diplomatically. He needs what to say when it needs to be said frankly. Yun lang naman yan ang credit namin kay Pinoy na hindi siya compared maybe perhaps to President Duterte, if they feel that his spokespersons and his principal are not speaking on the same wavelength, then there's something with respect to the communication process. But insofar as we and Pinoy are concerned, mabilis yung process namin.
Hindi, tsaka at least hindi nyo ini-interpret what he says in public.
You're not supposed to interpret that actually. Oo nga, yung mga ganong klaseng
diba?
situations.
Dito,
I really sometimes commiserate with the spokespersons now, no? Kasi it's really a very difficult job. Kasi alam mo, naalala ko yung bayan muna, nag-rally sila. Ang sinusunog talaga sa effigy, si Pinoy, si Butch Abad, then suddenly nandun ako. Talaga, kasama na yung spokesperson sa sinusunog. Dahil siguro, syempre, you have to defend the administration. It's a natural part of being a spokesperson na talagang kung either they hate you or they like you. Ganun talaga ka-polarized kasi it depends also on the government that you're representing or you're speaking for and on behalf of.
Alam mo, sabi nila, yung propaganda is not always a bad thing, di ba? Ang daming accomplishments ni Pinoy, yung infrastructures bill, modernization ng military, education, stable economy. Pero hindi daw alam ng tao, and some people blame your office for lack of propaganda. Is that a fair assessment?
Let me go back to the first part, no. May philosophical framework kasi si Pinoy. Unang-una, he's a very humble guy. Pangalawa, remember what he said nung sinabi niya, kayo ang boss ko. So all the accomplishments that were done, he believed came from the people. Galing sa tao yan. Okay. So ang framework yan is, if you remember, early on, I remember, meron siyang nilabas na memorandum order. Early on. Wala pang 1 buwan o 2 buwan first meeting namin ng cabinet was not even in the palace, but it was done sa Bahay Pangarap. Ang iniisip siyang memo is lahat ng public works project, huwag mo ilagay yung mukha ko.
Okay.
So, yan yung naging instruction niya, naalala ko yan. At so lahat ng public works project ni Secretary Singson, wala kang makikita mukha ni Pinoy.
Okay.
And it's true. The unintended consequence, however, was the local government officials started claiming that accomplishment. So that's one thing that because of out of the philosophy that kayo ang boss ko, all these taxes came from you, it's your accomplishment, not the president. So whatever the president does, he strongly believed that it was really from the people, and he was just a conduit of the commitment that he made that you are my bosses.
Ibang ngayon di ba?
Ganun yung framework. That's ang dami namin ginawa talaga. So towards the
ngayon
end,
baliktad pati yung accomplishments ni Pinoy kiniklaim ng administrasyon na to.
well, I suppose yun yung policy nila, no? But we were very clear what we did. In fact, we can stand shoulder to shoulder kung sinong katapat namin. We can tell you ilan ang public works projects na nilabas si Presidente Aquino. For the first time in our history, we achieved a high credit rating. That was because of the fiscal policy that the President started. So talagang you cannot compare what we came from. And this is the best analogy. When we were talking ito yung analogy na binigay sa amin ni Secmar. He's also a finance guy, no? Nung pagpasok natin sa 2010, kumbaga, ang analogy na ginawa niya is nasa swimming pool tayo. Nung pagpasok natin, yung tubig nandito. Nung pag-alis namin ng 2016, so the breathing room was up to the neck. So, hirap talagang huminga. In 2016, nung pag-alis namin, kumbaga yung tubig nandito na. Nasa waistline. So that there was enough breathing space. There's so much fiscal space na in fact, binigay namin sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Duterte. That's why there was so much money that we can spend. And the international debt, the foreign debt natin, binaba ng husto.
Yeah.
So we took advantage of all the credit ratings, lahat ng fiscal policies na ayos natin. Yung mga poorest of the poor, yung CCT ni Pangulong Aquino at ni Sec Dinky.
Yeah.
We've expanded. Inumpisahan ni Pangulong Arroyo naman. No? So we give credit. Inumpisahan niya, in-expand ng malawak ni Dinky at saka ni Pinoy. So marami talagang naisabi. But again, the framework is kayo ang boss ko. Yeah. So inyo yan. Kayo ang yun ang framework namin noon.
Pero alam mo, interesado ako malaman. Kasi ngayon ibang-iba na yung style ng communications, di ba? Kung uso na yung troll farms ng panahon nyo, would you have used and deployed it to defend some of the controversies that Pinoy faced?
I wouldn't think that, una-una wala sa akin ng budget.
Okay.
Wala sa akin yung budget yan. It was with Secretary Coloma. But we never had any situation where, I think to my mind, there were only two most difficult crises that we ever went through. But at that time, hindi mo na ma-anticipate yun because, again, the popularity rating of President Aquino, walang trolls yan, ha? It was sustained. Okay. Till the very end of our administration, the President's approval rating was high. There were only about 2 dips, but it always rebounded. Yung ganun yung cycle ng popularity approval rating ni Pinoy. So kaya, did we need a troll farm to prop up the approval rating of the President? Hindi. We can say, nung panahon namin, the 6 years, wala kaming troll farm. Okay. And yet, the popularity rating of the President, mataas. So, I don't think we needed, if you ask me on hindsight, hindi namin gagawin yun kasi popularity rating ni Pinoy mataas.
Okay. Nabanggit mo kanina yung may mga controversial issues din kayong hinarap, di ba? I guess, Mama Sapa was the most difficult that you faced. Huh?
That's correct.
In hindsight, what would you do differently para mabawasan yung naging negative reaction ng mga tao?
Mahirap sabihin kasi wala sa akin yung control nung It's I would leave that to the president to say that, no. It was really very difficult kasi we were really caught by surprise.
Okay.
Kami hindi namin alam na merong ganung klaseng operation, hindi nasabi sa amin ng PNP, hindi it was highly classified, so we were not informed. Maybe perhaps very, very few people were informed. So I remember it was on a Sunday. It was about a week after the Pope visited. So everybody was high. Maganda yung masaya yung pakiramdam ng mga Pilipino. DILG Simar was busy with the preparations of the papal visit. I don't know what sila Sec Gasmin naman was also helping along. So then suddenly a week after that, pumutok yung Mama Sapano. So we were really caught by surprise. Honestly, even Sec Gingdeles, who was in charge of the peace process, was also not informed.
Yung peace process na derail because of that. Yeah.
Malaking bagay talaga yung Mama Sapano. It really hurt the peace process. It really hurt the relationship between, even in the community where I belong to, these are Catholics who really believe in fostering good relations with our non-Christian brothers. Even they themselves felt na hindi mapagkakatiwalaan ng mga Muslim. Parang gano'n nangyari. Ang laking tama ng Mama Sapano insofar as the peace process. Ang pinaghirapan ni Pangulo Aquino yan, pinaghirapan ni Gingdeles. Maraming sa peace panel talaga. We could have gone farther now but unfortunately, a number of people also perhaps took advantage, those who did not want the peace process to be successful, na nakapag-take advantage sila.
Pero ikaw, you finish your full 6th term, ano? Etong kay Duterte, kung bibilangin mo yung pagbabalik ni Harry Roque, so there was Abella, Harry Roque, Panelo, and then balik kay Harry Roque. So in 4 years, 4 na palitan. But you finished your full term, so you must have enjoyed your job.
No, honestly, to be, I was told, and may shelf life kasi ang spokesperson eh.
Okay.
Ang shelf life, I was told by those who were ahead of me, ang shelf life talaga na isang tagapagsalita, siguro mga 1 year to 2 years eh. And nakakapagod talaga, lalo naging 24-hour news cycle. Talagang umaga, early morning, may gusto mag-interview sa'yo hanggang gabi. So the extent talaga, minsan tinatawag ako ni Ted Filon, sasabihan ako, Secretary LACIERDA, tinatawagan ka namin, hindi ka sumasagot sa telepono niyo. Parang talagang it was so difficult that I was constrained to ask for a deputy.
Okay.
That's why pumasok si Yusek Valte, kaya I had to ask one. No? But it was difficult that at some point, and this is true, the first time I'm going to tell you, in the middle of the administration, a year before the midterm, I offered my resignation to the president.
Okay.
Kami ni Yusek Valte, we offered our resignation to the president. Dahil nga, mahirap talaga yung trabaho.
Yeah.
So talagang, but the president said, simply, as in everyone who tries to leave office, kasama kasi kami sa kampanya. Tayo, Enteng, kasama tayo sa kampanya noon, sa 2010. Sabi, akala ko walang iwanan dito.
Ano yun sabi?
Pag ganyan yung usapan, akala ko walang iwanan dito, di ba? Kayo nagpatakbo sa akin. Ayun, parati niya sinasabi, kayo nagpatakbo sa akin. Nanalo ako, tapos ngayon, aalis kayo. Ako, meron pa akong natitirang ilang taon. Akala ko walang iwanan. So, pag ganyan ang sabi sa'yo,
wala.
Kukonsensya ka, o nga naman, kasi talaga at that time, gusto natin tumakbo siya. Remember, Enteng, there was a discussion, and this is coming, I'll tell you a story. Kami ni Enteng, si Enteng is the lead convener of Black and White movement. Black and White was really his idea. Talaga it was for good governance. Although ako ini-interview, ibibida ko muna si Enteng. Enteng wrote a very beautiful piece, and it led to people started talking about good governance. And so a number of them formed, no? Sila Dinky, sila Butch, sila Gingdeles, sila Bertilim. Ang dami nag-form ng Black and White. Si Manolo Quezon ako one of the pinakahuling na ni-recruit dahil kay Manolo Quezon. And in fact, naging discussion doon nung nag-decide yung Black and White movement na kumampanya kay Pinoy. At nung nanalo na, may nagkaroon tayo ng issue. And if you recall, sa bahay ni Luigi na sinabi, are we going to be pissing outside the tent or should we join the government? Naging debate pa sa atin kung sasali ba tayo sa gobyerno o hindi. Ngayon may pagkakataon na tayong tumulong sa madla. kailangan ba natin sumali o tuloy pa rin tayo sa labas? In fact, most of the decision, most of us decided it would be better. Considering marami rin sa atin doon, may karanasan na sa gobyerno, si Dinky, si Ging, si Butch, tayo ba isasali sa gobyerno? So naging decision ng Black and White po was to join government. So yun po ang Black and White movement. Nandun din pala si Lea Navarro, nakasama na po natin sa So and still continues, Black and White continues to fight for good governance.
Yep. Mahabang labanan na to eh. Simula pa panahon ni GMA hanggang ngayon. Patuloy tayong lumalaban. Pag-usapan naman natin yung kay Harry. This is what the interview is all about, no? Yung ating invitasyon. It's kung ako kay Harry, yan ang ating Sige, siguro, bago yan, I'd like to inform our audience, pwede po kayong magtanong mamaya dahil live po tayo ngayon. If you're watching sa Facebook, pasok nyo lang po sa chat at nakalagin naman ako, babasahin ko yung question. Ganon din sa YouTube. So pwede nyo tanungin si Sec Edwin, pwede rin nyo akong tanungin. Okay? At kung nag-i-enjoy naman kayo dito sa palabas na to, kamukha nung sa first episode, paki-press naman yung subscribe button, either sa Facebook or sa YouTube. So ito na, kung ako kay Harry, pag may tinanong ako sa iyo, Sec Edwin, ang sagot mo, ang frame ng sagot mo, dapat ang umpisa palagi, kung ako kay Harry, ganito ang gagawin ko. Kasi unsolicited advice niya. Now, kilalang human rights activist si Harry Roque nun, di ba? Alam naman nyo na numero 1 human rights violator si Dutz. May papakita akong video sa iyo. Ito yung bago ng 2016 campaign. Ito si Harry Roque at sinasabi niya rito. Okay. Anyway, may isang video dyan na sinabi niya, huwag niyo iboboto yung isang professed murderer. He was talking about, he was in a forum, nagsasalita siya. So, tapos sabi nung isang reporter, but sir, very popular and charismatic si Duterte at mukhang maraming boboto sa kanya. Alam mo, sagot niya, sabi niya, well, si Hitler din naman at saka si Marcos charismatic eh. So, ganun yung postura niya noon. And yet ngayon, here he is supporting all out si Duterte, no? So, kung ikaw si Harry, tatalikuran mo ba ang advocacy na ipinaglaban mo ng buong buhay para lang sa isang mataas na posisyon? Paano may reconcile to sa mga kaibigan at pamilya mo?
If I were Harry, and I'm not speaking for Harry here, it goes to show that it would seem that his ambition overrides his principles. Okay. Because if you prioritize your principles, you would have insisted on your principles.
Okay.
If your principles believe that a certain person is a human rights violator, in your very bones, in your very soul, you would not endorse someone like him. Then you don't
less work for him.
Much less work for him. So you don't live up to your principles. That means I have priced my ambition over my principles. I have eaten my principles over the fact that I would like to achieve a certain ambition. So that's very clear. You cannot reconcile a polarity of principles when it is in direct opposition to what the principal is saying.
Tama. I agree with you. Alam mo, marami ding naniniwala na kaya niya unang tinanggap yung posisyon dahil umaasa siya na isasama siya rin sa senatorial slate noong 2019, di ba? Pero nilaglag siya ni Digong noon. Sinabi pa ni Digong, wala namang pag-asa manalo yan. Kaya siya nagbitiw. Kung ikaw si Harry, babalik ka pa ba sa pwesto matapos na mainsulto ka ng ganun level?
I will just, again, let me just lay the framework for what I'm thinking. I would be a strategic long-term thinker.
Okay.
Short-term, pwede akong bumalik, pero pag long-term, what is the legacy that I'm giving to the people, to my family?
Okay.
Kasi people will forget you, but what is the legacy that I'm leaving to my family? Parang, again, it goes back to your principles. Eh.
Okay.
I mean, the overriding thing, ano bang mas importante sa'yo, prinsipyo mo ba o ambisyon?
Yeah.
Yun lang naman ang katapat yan. Kung ang prinsipyo mo at saka ang ambisyon mo pareho, walang problema yon. Pero kung may prinsipyo ka na alam na ng tao na ito ang
Kilala na siya na ron eh, no?
at malaki ang respeto ko kay Harry, no? In fact, nung I'll tell you something, nung panahon ng Mamasapa, nung Maguindanao Massacre, I was asked by a certain fellow to represent isang journalist. Pamilya ng isang journalist. Nung nalaman ko si Harry, kinausap ko si Harry, sabi ko, gusto akong kunin. Nung nalaman ko si Harry nag-o-offer na siyang maging abogado, tinawagan ko si Harry Roque. Sabi ko, Harry, I heard that you're planning to represent this particular family. Go ahead. Kasi siya yung mas kilala eh. So,
Yes.
Maganda rin na may kilalang abogado, may command sa media.
Yeah.
So that's why malaki respeto ko kay Harry as a human rights
Hindi, pati
lawyer.
yung kaya nun eh, nirepresent niya, di ba? Yung si Laude, remember?
Si Jaime Laude.
Oo,
yung
pinatay na.
ganong klaseng reputation na human rights lawyer ka, tapos all of a sudden, meron tayong bagong administrasyon na taliwas sa iyong prinsipyo. Alleged, di mo na taliwas sa prinsipyo mo.
Yeah.
Ano ba talaga? Talagang prinsipyo ba yun? Yung pinaglalaban mo o media attention? So now that comes to that you question now the person itself, the very being of his person.
I think it will haunt him after 2022. Well, depende kung anong...
At the same time, history will be kind to those who really live up to their principles.
Yeah.
I
totally agree with you.
It's as simple as that. So eventually, as someone who's looking long term, what is the legacy that you're going to leave to your family and eventually to history?
Pero alam mo, minsan naawa rin ako kay Harry kasi mahirap yung maging spokesperson ng presidente. Tapos merong pumapapel na tagapagsalita, pinoproject na official at galing mismo sa presidente yung statement. I'm talking about, of course, about Bongo, no? So, ang hirap nun, di ba? Kasi minsan nauunahan ka pa eh. So, kung ikaw si Harry, paano mo i-handle yung ganyang sitwasyon na palagi ka napipreempt ng isang alam naman ng lahat na dikit kay Digong?
You know, that's hindi sa dinitipensahan ko si Senator Bongo, but the fact of the matter is the relationship is so close eh.
Okay.
In fact, in point of fact, siya ang talagang spokesperson ni Pangulong Duterte kasi talagang from sa Davao pa lang magkasama na sila to the extent
Bakit na nga lang siya ang ginawang spokesperson to start with?
because mas importante yung trabahong ginagawa ni Senator Bongo eh.
Okay.
Close in talaga sila eh. You know, there are certain people talagang kailangan mo somebody that you can trust. And normal sa tao yan eh. For President Duterte, Bongo is the one person that he can trust his life. Would he be a good spokesperson? Perhaps better because he knows
Alam niya.
he knows
Ang tingin ko nga, he can actually speak for the president.
I think so too.
Kasi halos pares na siguro silang mag-isip eh.
Pero ang hirap din naman kasi ng trabaho ni Senator Bongo na although ginagawa niya ngayon nakasama na spokesperson siya, you interact with media a lot and then you have to be with the president. So I understand why he's not a spokesperson, but sa totoo lang, siya yung pinaka-effective na spokesperson. Kung if you ask me, siya yung dapat na spokesperson. Talagang walang sinungaling doon kasi alam niya talaga ang anong iniisip ni Pangulong Duterte.
Sige. Anyway, pakita ko lang ulit yung video ni Vice Ganda kanina. Ito kasi yung interview ni Vice Ganda kay Harry Roque. Siya eh, tinanong siya rito tungkol dun sa yung alam mo yun nang halik si Digong ng OFW na babae. So kung ready na
Ano naman na depensahan siya kung
ang sinasabi niya rito essentially is naipit siya rito kay Vice Ganda eh. Para bang si Harry mismo he found it inappropriate para gawin ni Duterte yun, yung manghalik. And yet, dinipensahan pa rin niya. So, ang sabi ni Vice Ganda sa kanya, so iba pala yung nasa sa loobin mo sa kasalita mo. Parang pinaghihiwalay mo ba yun? Di ba? So, in other words, kung ikaw si Harry at alam mong mali yung ginagawa ni Presidente, Didepensa mo ba yun pagtatanggol mo kahit alam mong mali?
Ang hirap ng tanong mo yan, sa totoo lang. Mahirap talaga. So, but before I answer that, I have never come across a situation where that President Aquino did something wrong that I had to defend.
Okay.
It was a policy, if there were differences, it were differences in policy positions, which by after explanation naman, maintindihan mo ba ito ang policy. It's not a question of right or wrong. It's not a question of whether it's inappropriate or not. So, but kung gusto mo ang position mo, wala kang magagawa.
Actually, nasabi niya, trabaho ko yun.
Trabaho yun talaga. I mean, to be very, very blunt with you, yan ang trabaho ng tagapagsalita.
Okay.
Ang trabaho mo, hindi mo pwedeng kontrahin ng principal mo. Kung kinontra mo principal mo, umalis ka na lang.
Mag-resign ka na lang.
Mag-resign. Ganun kasimple yung trabaho. You cannot, hindi ka pwedeng manatili sa trabaho mo na tapos kinokontra mo yung principal mo. That goes against the grain of being a spokesperson.
Okay. Merong recent issue kay Roque, yung di ba yung nag-violate siya ng social distancing, yung sa Adventure Park sa Subic. Sabi niya, dolphins lang naman kasama niya. Ang problema niya, may mga lumabas na memes na may mga kasama siyang tao. Ito, pakita natin. Ayan, no?
Oo.
So, may resibo na nagsisinungaling siya sa booking na booking. Kung ikaw si Harry, ganyan na, booking ka na and all, paano mo handle yung...
I would apologize.
Just apologize, ano?
I would apologize because ano bang ilalaban mo? Hindi, ang ka-picture ko, dolphin eh. Like, that's a term that's very commonly used right now. It's called resibo, but yun na nga, may proof na rin yan. Like yung, just to be more recent lang, itong si Yusek Malay, sinabi niya na bawal ang rally bukas kasi may social distancing measures. Tapos, then you see in the Rizal Stadium, nakakulong mga locally stranded individuals. That's also violating social distancing.
Yeah.
So parang you have to be consistent with what you say. I mean, government as a whole, not just a spokesperson, should be consistent in what they say. Otherwise, you lose credibility. That's the reason why General Sinas was is so lacking in credibility right now when he's enforcing social distancing measures because he violated social distancing measures. So whenever you say something, by the way, the only asset of a spokesperson is his credibility. Pag nawala na yung credibility mo, pinagtatawanan ka lang. You may be speaking continuously in front of the press, for the president and in front of media, but after the press briefing, people will laugh at you because you've lost your credibility. That's your only asset, and if you lose that credibility, you might as well say goodbye to your job.
Alam mo, ako iniisip ko rin, wala namang forever sa pwesto di ba? In fact, kay Harry Roque siguro 2 years na lang yan So tama ba na sabihin na dapat at this time meron na siyang exit plan? Kung ikaw si Harry, anong klaseng exit plan ang gagawin mo?
May exit plan namin siya dati. Kaya nga siya tumakbong senador. Hopefully, baka he's another exit plan. We don't know his plans. What? You're asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you frankly, like and this is true. Like the president, we had a calendar every year. Okay. And every day that we went to office, pinupunit namin ang kalendaryo. Waiting for the day that the 6 years will be over. So every year yan. 365 days may magpiprint. After itong araw, pinupunit namin. Araw-araw may pinupunit ako. Alam ng staff ko yan Alam din nila Abby na nagpupunit kami because
you were really counting the days.
We were counting the days until we leave office. Ganun yan yung philosophy namin. We're not here to stay forever. Tama ka, Enteng, walang forever sa public sector, no? I mean, any job naman anyway. But ang plano ko talaga after serving the people for 6 years, then I will go back to private sector. By the way, it's not something that we were not asked to run for public office as well. Because my approval rating, Pulse Asia had a continuous survey of public officials, and my approval rating was also pretty high. My what do you call this, awareness scores in the 90s. So people were asking me to run for public office also, but it wasn't part of my DNA na tatakbo ako sa gobyerno. Especially at that time, midterms. my awareness rating was 90 plus. Habol mo lang naman awareness eh.
Yeah.
Mataas pa yung approval rating ni Pangulong Aquino nun. So, but hindi ko DNA yun eh. So,
Okay. Oh, final question na tayo. Final question. Kung ikaw si Harry, anong hairstyle ang pipiliin mo? Eto, papakita. May options ka, ha? Ayan. Oy, by the way, mga viewers, pwede rin kayong bumoto. Titingnan ko ako anong iboboto nyo, ha?
ako
Sa comment section, lagay nyo lang A, B, C, or D. Ayan. Sige nga. A, B, C, or D. Okay? Ikaw, Sec Edwin. Anong pipiliin mo? Alam mo, nagbabago-bago siya ng hairstyle, ha? Napapansin mo ba? Minsan, meron siyang curly version ng konti. Di ba? So, gusto mo bang may bangs? Letter A? Letter B? Gusto mo bang medyo curly or long hair or no hair?
Siyempre, I'd wish the best for Harry naman. Ano? So, I think Harry looks very good in A.
Sa A?
Oo.
May bangs?
Oo.
Sige nga, tingnan natin. Pinili ni Sec Edwin, may bangs. Ayan, sige. Ayan, yan lang napili mo, ha. Ngayon, interesado yung audience malaman, ano kaya itsura naman ni Sec Edwin kung may bangs? Tingnan niya natin. Tingnan natin.
Sige nga, hindi ko alam yan.
Oo. Ayan!
Teka, sandali. Kamukha ko si Dan Fernandez dyan.
Hindi, pero ang mas gusto kong sana ang pinili. Tingnan natin yung itsura ni Sec Edwin kung curly. Tingnan natin kung itsura ni Sec Edwin kung curly. Tingnan natin. Ayan! Yan ang favorite ko. Para ko si Clark Kent dyan eh. Wala.
Ba't may salamin ako dyan?
So, yan po ang end ng ating interview with Sec Edwin. At bago natin tuluyang bitawan si Sec Edwin, mamaya meron siyang last words na ibibigay sa inyo. Pumunta naman tayo sa segment na tinawag nating the top 10 social media posts for the last 2 weeks. At ito po sila, ang naipon, nakalap natin sa iba't ibang platform. Tingnan natin isa-isa. Sa number 10, ito alam niyo yung pinagbawal yung pumarada sa harap ng bahay. Ito po ang solusyon. Yan po ang solusyon. Paggawa ka ng bakod na buntis, naka-extend. Ang hirap na hirap siguro yung latero dito. Yan po ang ating number 10. At number 9, ayan, ang number 9 natin, tingnan natin. Medyo mabagal yung ating director ngayon, Number 9. Ito naman, okay lang gumamit ng Photoshop para paseksihin yung katawan mo. Pero sana, huwag nyo isama yung background, pati yung gate naging sexy. Alam niyo yung Photoshop, may overlay po yan. Dapat pag nag-edit kayo, inaati nyo into overlays. Ang susunod natin, sa number 8, alam nyo hinuli si Howie Severino dahil nagbabike siya. Ito, number 8, tingnan natin. Dahil nagbabike siya, tapos binaba niya yung face mask para uminom. Inaresto pa siya. So, number 8, itong face mask na to, recommended for Howie Severino. Ayan. So, pwede kang uminom kahit suot ang face mask na to. Ayos ba? So, number 7, ito yung para sa mga mahilig manood. Para sa mga hilig matulog sa loob ng kulambo. Ayan. Alam mo ba, Edwin, yung minsan nagigising ka, hinahanap mo yung cellphone mo, di ba? Naiwan sa kama. Mas grabe kung baby yung nawawala. Buti na lang nakakulambo. May naalala tuloy akong mahilig matulog sa kulambo. Number 6. Yan, yung merong humingi ng tulong sa NBI para isabpi na yung mga critic niya. Ayun, imbis na matakot yung mga tao, nag-trending tuloy siya. Hanggang umabot sa Amerika sa show na Wheel of Fortune. Ayan. Madaling ulan, di ba? Tatanong mo lang, is there a letter G? Ayan, nakakuha yan. Sa number 5, tingnan natin. Sabi nila, pwede na raw yung mag-asawa sa motorsiklo mag-angkas. Kaya lang kailangan daw mayaron sa kadala mo yung marriage certificate. Etong babaeng to magaling. 2-in-1. So mayaran na, meron pang proof na mag-asawa sila. Sa number 4, dito naman maraming na-frustrate dun sa ABS-CBN hearings, no? Kaya sabi ng isang netizen, ano ba yan? Nakaka-prostate naman. Siguro senior na to, kaya nag-prostate cancer na to. Sa number 3, dahil nagsara na ang ABS-CBN, meron na mga bagong lineup na mga programs. Ayan, no? Ewan ko kung matutuwa kayo dyan. Ang paborito ko yung MNK, yung pangalawa. Malala na kaya? Tsaka yung TV Patrol, kung di nyo napansin, ayan, merong double L yung patrol. Ayan, TV Patrol. At sa number 2, eto naawa ko rito. Call center operator to eh. Hirap na hirap siyang i-explain.
Yes, sir.
Yung
We can help you in fixing the cell phone.
Yan.
What you just have to do is to send us back the cell phone together with the cartoon. Cartoon, like the square. It's made of hard paper, and then the cell phone is in the inside when you receive it, or when you received it. Cartoon. It depends, sir. It depends because in some places they say carton. If they have an accent, sometimes they also say cartoon. Hard paper. Most of the time, it is brown. Yes. You know, it is a square. It is already English, sir. Cartoon is English.
Yan, sa number 1, panguli, siyempre, tungkol kay Harry Roque to, siya ay feature natin. No? Yung ini-interview siya.
Secretary Roque, thank you for your time, sir. Secretary Roque.
I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe. And I get more ass than a toilet seat.
Nanaginip dito si Roque.
Secretary
Palagay ko.
Roque, can you hear me?
3 to the 1, 1 to the 3.
Nakisaw-saw sa
I met a
pena
bad
ni
bitch
Emilius.
last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and Hennessy. I've been to the motherfucking mountaintop. Heard motherfuckers talk, seen them drop. If I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And when I bust your ass, I'm gonna continue to rock. Get your ass on the wall with your 2 left feet.
All right, doesn't seem like the Secretary can hear me right now. We're gonna try to get him back. Secretary Roque.
Paano kung panaginip lang pala ang lahat?
Yan. Napulot ko lang po sa Facebook yan. Pinost ni Philip Pipino. Yan, Philip Pipino. Okay, at dahil hindi naman original yung mga pinikap natin yan, dapat lang ilagay natin CTTO. Ayan. Credit to the owner. Okay. So yan po ang ating top 10, no? At ngayon, medyo seryoso naman tayo ng konti. Balik tayo sa issues of the day, no? Punta naman tayo sa segment na tinawag nating komentaryong biased. Alam nyo, bukas na ang SONA or State of the Nation Address. Pupunta si Duterte sa Kongreso para i-report ang kalagayan ng ating bansa. Kaya tinatawag natin itong ulat ng bayan. Pero kung pagbabasihan natin yung 3 nakaraang SONA at yung kanyang mga press con nitong panahon ng COVID, parang imbis na ulat ng bayan, tawagin siguro natin siyang dapat na olat ang bayan. Diba? Matapos ipasa ang anti-terror bill at ipasara ang ABS-CBN, ngayon naman, balak nilang baguhin ang saligang batas. Bakit? Primarily because our present constitution allows only one term for the president. And changing the constitution is the only way to allow him to continue in power beyond the present term. Siyempre, pati na din yung mga congressman at senador na naabot na ang mga term limits, pwede pa uli tumakbo sa bagong konstitusyon. Ito ang problema. Sa gitna ng pinakamalaking pandemyang hinaharap ng buong mundo, pang sariling interes lang ang inaatupag ng ating mga pamunuan. Samantala, tayo ngayon ang pinaka-worst performing country sa South Pacific pagdating sa paglaban sa COVID. Patuloy na tumataas ang bilang ng mga infected ng virus, maraming nawalan ng trabaho, maraming negosyo nagsara, maraming nagugutom, maraming nakabitin sa ere, walang ayudang natatanggap. Tanging panalangin na lang at tulong ng pribadong sektor ang inaasahan. Pero siyempre bukas, magbibida na naman si Duterte. Malamang sasabihin niya na matagumpay ang kampanya ng gobyernong ito sa COVID at napigilan ang pagtaas ng infected dahil sa maagap na intervention ng gobyerno. Tingnan mo nga naman, ano? Alam niya, walang pinagkaiba yan sa isang estudyante na nakakuha na ng grade 70 tapos nagyayabang pa. Sabi niya, buti nga, nag-aral ako mabuti. Kung hindi, baka 60 pa yung nakuha ko. Ganon yun. Now, ang malungkot dito, bukas, pakakawalan nila ang kanilang mga troll army pagkatapos ng SONA. At marami pa din maniniwala na umigi ang buhay natin. Meron pa magsasabi, kawawa naman si Tatay Digong, pagod na pagod na. Heto ang pag-isipan nyo, mga katribo. Nung kumandidato siya, sabi niya, pupuksain niya ang problema ng droga at korupsyon in 3 to 6 months. Pero ano nangyari? Matapos ang 3 taon, siya mismo ang nagsabi na ang problema ng droga at korupsyon ay mas lalong lumala. Dito ako mas nababahala. Ang problema ng korupsyon, hindi lang sa pagkulimbat sa kaban ng bayan. Mas nakakabahala ang korupsyon ng pag-iisip ng taong bayan. Tingnan nyo halimbawa to si Harry Roque. Di ba dati siyang human rights advocate, tagapagtanggol ng mga naapi? Pero ano nangyari? Ngayon, tagapagtanggol na siya ng numero 1 violator ng human rights. Hindi lang yan. Ngayon, mas marami ng taong palamura, bastos, at mapagbanta na mangre-rape or papatay ng kapwa. Paano tayo nakarating dito? Alam nyo, tama ang kasabihan. Pag mali ang ginagawa ng matanda, sa mata ng bata, nagiging tama ito. Lalo na kung ang gumagawa ay ang pinakamataas na leader ng bansa. We have lost our moral conscience. We have become a vile and divided people. And it will take at least 1 generation to repair our damaged culture and bring it back to a pre-Duterte normal. Guys, mukhang tama yung video ni Roque kanina. Parang panaginip lang. Pero sa karamihan sa atin, hindi lang siya panaginip. Isa siyang bangungot. At tulad nung panawagan kanina ng mga obispo at ng mga national artists natin, sana magising na tayo. Sec Edwin, any last words for our viewers?
You know, it's been a different journey for the country. Certainly, we had expectations of a different sort last 2016, but we're here right now. And if there's one thing I remember sinabi ni in the play Man for All Seasons, ang quote kay Thomas Morden was, I do none harm, I say none harm, I think none harm. Whatever the situation we are in our country today, let's continue to pray for our country. Let's continue to pray for our leaders. Sana magkaroon ng kaliwanagan. Maganda kanina sinabi mo yung kaninang video nilabas mo, sila Bishop Sok, sila Bishop Pabilio. It's a very timely period for us to reflect, especially given the COVID pandemic. Where are we situated right now? What can we do for the country as well? And in spite of the different political beliefs that we have, let's pray for our country. Kasi like we all, it's important for us to move together and pray for the betterment of all our people. So sa akin lang, pagdasal natin bayan natin. Maraming salamat, Enteng, sa pagkakataong itong binigay mo sa akin. Matagal na ako hindi humaharap sa media, pero it's a good time to meron talagang bawat sa atin may damdamin ng public service din. At pagdasal natin bayan natin. Salamat po.
Salamat din sa Kevin na pinagbigyan mo ang aking imbitasyon, and I totally agree with you. This country needs prayers, a lot of prayers at this time, no? O sige na, kita-kits na lang tayo ulit sa next episode, no? Abangan niyo yung announcement. Ito po si Ka Enteng na nagsasabing, kapit lang mga katribo. Keep the faith, stay safe, and God bless. See ya!
Isang pananawagan sa may kapal mula sa bayang nasasakdal. Panginoon, sa panahon ng kadiliman at pandemya, alagaan mo ang iyong bayan, gabayan mo ang iyong bayan. Panginoon, kaawaan mo kami. Kristo, kaawaan mo kami. Ang daing ng iyong bayan ay iyong pakinggan. Panginoon, ang iyong mga anak ay ligtas mo sa kadiliman. Ang Kyrie ay isang pagsusumamo na naglalaman ng lahat ng ating mga daing at pangamba para sa ating bayan.
Speak out. Let your voices be heard. Let the Lord know how much we all love and believe in this country, this gift, this nation, and all its people. Let your love for the Philippines and for our people be heard amidst the plague of terror and deception, amidst the pestilence of violence and injustice, amidst the disease of greed and corruption. The Lord will hear our voices, once silent and meek, now growing, not in hatred, but in love for this country. He will shine His light upon us.
kailan ka mamumulat? Ang totoo'y nakikita na, pumipikit ka ba?
Kailan pa kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala ka nang ibubuga?
Bayan ko, kailan ka matututo? Sadyang ikaw ang kalaban mo, ikaw rin ang susuko.
Kailan kapag wala ka nang magagawa, kapag wala